almost exactly the same. I'll let you take a look at some of the seahorses as we can see them. I left the setup the same. I put the decorations pretty much in the same location. I just moved over the filtration system, the sponge filter that's in there, everything that I had in the other tank. You can see a seahorse in the back there kind of hiding. So the reason I moved them into the smaller tank before vacation is because it is really hard to keep up with the brine shrimp density that's needed to keep seahorses well fed. Dwarf seahorses are a little bit lazy and they don't normally go chasing after their food. I have seen some do it, but for the most part they're content to just sit and let food swim by them, and then they'll just peck at it as it comes by. So the larger the tank you have, the more brine shrimp you need to keep densities up high enough that the dwarves will stay well fed. So I wanted to make sure that even though I'm going to be hatching like crazy before my vacation, that there was going to be enough food concentration while I was gone. In addition to that, I have 2 dwarf seahorses that are expecting. I don't know if I can find one right now. The one guy's been hanging out inside of this yellow artificial plant, and they're growing, but they're getting ready to be due just before I leave for vacation. So it's going to be more important than ever that I have enough density of brine shrimp in the tank for the seahorses. Another thing that I've done is underneath the tank, if you followed the previous videos, I had a space for hatching out brine shrimp. These are just little 2-gallon aquariums with upside down bottles inside that are aerated from the bottom. And on one side I had just one tank with a hatcher, and on the other side I had another 2.5-gallon tank that I had copepods in. I've moved the copepods into a larger vessel and just put it outside. It really doesn't need extra care, and I'm not sure how much luck I'm actually having with the copepods, but leaving them outside and developing the green water naturally in the sunlight, if they're doing okay, if any have survived, they'll do just fine and start to multiply. But they multiply way too slow for me to be able to meet any needs during vacation time. So you can see I have 2 hatchers going at the same time. They do look a little different from each other for 2 different reasons. One is I have 2 different light bulbs in, no particular reason, I just grabbed whatever I could find. The other is on the left hand side is brine shrimp that has the shell on, and the brine shrimp will need to be separated from the shell, and the other is the decapsulated brine, so they do look different colors. I'm basically just trying to use up the decapsulated brine. I'm just not really happy with it. Because even after I go through the hatching, and the hatching rate is faster and the decapsulated brine is more nutritious than the shell on brine, I still have to go through the trouble of separating it so that I'm not accidentally putting in a significant amount of unhatched brine shrimp that will end up in the tank hatching out and polluting the tank. So I think I have perfected a way to easily separate decapsulated brine from its shell, and I'll probably do a future video on that. I really just wanted this one to be about vacation. So let me show you how I'm building up my brine. Here's the vessel that I'm putting the hatched out brine in. It's a 2-gallon fish bowl, and it has the simple sponge filter in there, or a small one. Basically, I'm just adding the brine to this fish bowl, and over time it's going to have brine shrimp of all different sizes. Newly hatched, anywhere from shrimp growing out anywhere from a couple days old to more than a week old. The adults will be able to eat the larger size just fine, but hopefully there'll be enough of the newly hatched ones in here so that when the babies are born and the seahorse keepers are feeding them from from this source that the babies will be able to eat from it. I'm also enriching this, so I'm adding in things like probiotic marine flake, spirulina powder, and then a little bit of Celcom for the fatty acids. So a nice benefit of using this method, in addition to having lots and lots of brine readily available, it's going to get enriched, and that will create really healthy, fattened up seahorses and babies. The rest of this video is just me leaving instructions for my babysitting seahorse keepers who will be kind enough to take care of the seahorses while I'm gone. That's one big drawback with dwarf seahorses. In addition to them requiring live foods, they're really not easily trained on frozen foods or non-living foods. You have to make sure that they're fed every day with those live foods. So hopefully everything will go well. My normal tank cleanup and things that I would do, I'm not going to worry about it. I'll just clean up the best I can when I get back. I'm not going to be gone for an extensive amount of time, so hopefully in the care of my seahorse keepers, all will go well. Now on with the step-by-step instructions. Well, as I mentioned, this process of refining dwarf seahorse keeping has been a big experiment for me, and you can see that the fishbowl is now empty. That process was not working for me. So I am going to move the fishbowl, get it out of the way. And what I've done instead is I took a 5-gallon bucket that I had, filled it with fresh salt water. And I don't know if you can see, but there are brine shrimp swimming around in there. And this is working out much better as far as keeping them alive there. You can see a little bit there. I think I was polluting the water using such a tiny vessel to store a lot of brine shrimp as I was trying to build it up before going to vacation. I do have 2 batches brewing right now because I'm hoping to leave very soon for vacation, but it looks like there's plenty of live brine in there right now, and I'll be adding to it. And then another adjustment that I made is that I really reduced the amount of enrichment that I'm supplying to the seahorses. So the fatty acids, I may be adding a drop or 2 every day or every other day, at the max 3. And then as far as the spirulina, I am adding maybe a pinch or 2 once a day or every other day or every couple of days. I kind of go by what the water looks like. So the following videos are just going to be very short takes put together, and they're basically going to be instructions to my seahorse keepers. Step 1, turn on the light in the garage when you come in. It's on the left-hand side when you're first walking in the door. And then it might be easier if you look for the switch on the lamp that's going to shine down on the brine shrimp, and turn that on so you can see where you're working. Below the bucket with the brine shrimp is a bucket of freshly made salt water. Take the pitcher that is sitting on top of the bucket and dip it into the brine shrimp mixture, and you're going to fill it up about halfway. Doesn't have to be precise. Fill it up about halfway. And then we're going to move over to the sink in the laundry room. Step 2, find the blue sieve sitting on the sink in the laundry room. And you're going to take the sieve and hold it over the sink. Take the water that you pulled out of the brine shrimp bucket and pour it through the sieve. When you're finished, you should see some reddish looking things in the sieve. And then you're going to rinse this under this faucet with some fresh cold water. I try to move it around so that all of the red parts show up in one part of the sieve. So you can see when I'm finished, all the red parts are in one little section. And now we're ready to go up to the seahorse tank. Step 3. Go to the seahorse tank in the office. First, take the light that's sitting on the top of the hood. You're going to need to move it. You'll notice that there are brackets here. I recommend hooking one bracket onto part of the power filter and just let the other hang. Be careful how you place it so it doesn't fall. And then you can open the lid and then take the brine that's in the mesh and just move it backwards so that it releases. Put it in and move it backwards. Once that's done, you can close the hood, make sure it's locked into place, put the light back where it was. I recommend that you make sure the bracket is located evenly on each end and that the cord runs through underneath and moves to the back of the tank instead of onto the side. And then you should see, if you look carefully, there are little creatures swimming around and that the seahorses have become perked up and are interested in eating right away. You can even see some take little snips at the food. Then you're going to take the sieve and you are going to bring it back downstairs. Step 4. Turn on the hot and cold water. Put the sieve under it and rinse both sides very well. Then put the sieve back in its original location. And then take the pitcher that you use to collect the brine shrimp and let water fill, swirl it around, empty it out once or twice, and we're ready to go back to the garage. Step 5, back in the garage. Take the lid off of the blue bucket that has the fresh seawater in it. Take the original pitcher and you want to get about half a container full, similar to what you had when you took the brine shrimp out originally. Doesn't have to be exact. All you're doing is replacing the water that you took out of the brine shrimp tank, and it's giving the brine shrimp a mini water change. Then when you're finished, just leave the pitcher on top of the little refrigerator until next time. Put the lid back on the salt water. I recommend putting the lid on the brine shrimp just to keep things from falling in it, and then turning off the light. I appreciate it if there's any way possible if you could feed the seahorses twice a day, but if that's not possible, once a day would be great. Thank you so much for your help.